The effort to recall Governor Scott Walker has fallen short tonight here in the Badger State. NBC News declares Walker the winner.
Mike volunteered for Barrett, voted today. You say you're very disappointed. A lot of folks here outside the Capitol sharing your opinion tonight.
We're not just disappointed. This is the end of democracy. We just got outspent $34 million to $4 million. Every single one of you out there in the nation, if you're watching, democracy died tonight.
You're very emotional.
I'm very emotional because we all had a lot invested in this. This was it. If we didn't win tonight, the end of the USA as we know it just happened. It's done. Democracy's dead.
CNN covered a man who was crying. I saw it live last night. I couldn't believe it. When you hear things like that, the last thing you want to do is laugh. Would you do a search real quick for the guy who's calling the Hindenburg? You know, when the Hindenburg comes in, he's like, oh, the humanity, because I think it might be the same guy.
All the folks between this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world.
This is the end of democracy. The end of the USA as we know it just happened.
Most of the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast of the humanity.
Every single one of you out there in the nation, if you're watching, democracy died tonight. It's done. Democracy's dead.
Let's get to one more phone caller here. Let's get to one more. Mike, welcome to the program.
I'm the crying guy, Vicky.
Oh, the death of democracy in the USA as we know it. First, explain how democracy is dead. That's what we need to know first and foremost. How democracy is dead when we've had one, two, three, four elections. You need to explain it now. Come on, honey.
Happy to explain that.
Here we go.
You guys were just talking about numbers. The only numbers that I'm really interested in, Vicky, was how much money was spent in this election.
That's not. You're not explaining why democracy died. We'll talk about money. Hey, Mike.
Where my theory is.
Mike, we'll talk about money in a second. We had four elections: November 2010, April 2011. August 2011 and June 2012. Those were elections that were held where people went out and voted, Mike. So you please explain to me how democracy, do you know what democracy is, right?
I absolutely
Okay,
do,
so
Vicky.
how is it dead?
When you have the will of the people being done. And that's absolutely not. It's the will of your money. It's the will of the media and people like yourself.
So 1.3 million people are just not exercising their will in an election?
They are not being told the truth in the election because of big money. It's really that simple.
So you really do believe
hard for you to grasp?
You really do believe?
Hard for you to grasp?
You really do, Mike. Now you listen to me for a second. You need to go read the Wisconsin State Journal. The Wisconsin State Journal. Mike, hang on a second. Mike, I need you to do yourself a favor and go educate yourself by reading about how much money your money is your problem, right? How much money your side put in. It's in the Wisconsin State Journal from a week ago. The actual amount of money on both sides is about even. No, they really do, because we have third-party money tracking in Wisconsin.
And that's my problem with you. You're a liar.
We track third-party money in Wisconsin.
Start the name calling.
Scoreboard.
I got news for you, Michael. The name calling got rejected yesterday by the voters.
You just got your butt handed to you, and you can't just accept it. Time to move on. Go get a sandwich and take a nap, sweetheart, because you're grumpy. We'll be right back. All right, Mike was swearing the whole time while we were talking. We actually had to pot him down. He was screaming, "I'm your damn worst nightmare." Just absolutely screaming like a crazy man. Did you notice how Crying Man never did explain how democracy died? He just wanted to gripe about money. Here's the thing. It's money, money, money for these guys because they can't accept that their message failed. What was their message? Nothing. They had insults. It was noise. It was chaos. That was their message. They didn't have a message.
So one of our frequent callers and avid listeners made the national news. He was on CNN, very upset about what happened. This is Vinny. He was ridiculed and maligned by talk shows from coast to coast to coast. And I actually ran into Vinny shortly after that must have occurred. I was coming from the concourse, and he was extremely upset. What Vinny said was dramatic, but not entirely untrue. Brother Vinny, you're on WTDY.
Thank you, Sly. To any of the right-wingers that might just be listening tonight, I didn't get sad about my favorite football player retiring. I didn't get sad about if my team won or lost the Super Bowl. I got sad because for a year, I put in a lot of work. I got people to the polls, did some canvassing, I did some phone banking, and of course, I did what I usually do. I made a hell of a lot of phone calls to radio stations to try and sway people's mind. And all that was burned up by 190,000 votes. This is not democracy anymore. And what was so disheartening was when we went down to the Capitol, and you were there, and we saw all those people, and we were all ready to celebrate and have a great time, or at least, put up a good fight. But when we found out that the will of the people is not being done, because we'll never have another movement like we created here in Madison. There'll never be another 100,000 people down at the Capitol, especially after this election. I think the people are so blinded by the money and advertising now. Didn't you feel, Sly, that, this people's movement that we had started really did have a chance against the big money? Didn't you feel like that was... But we were proven wrong, weren't we? Democracy is dead in America, and any one of you right-wing talk show hosts that would like to have me on to talk about it, boy, howdy, I would be glad to be on any one of your radio or TV shows.
Thank you for calling, Vinny. Thank you. I wanted him to explain himself. Democracy. Vinny says it's dead. I don't concur that it's dead.